Hey, we're World Entertainment, and Zack Snyder was on tour with Frank Miller, and they were discussing Frank Miller's history in his new book and stuff like that, and Snyder was the interviewer on stage. So they've been going around doing this tour where he's getting to ask some questions, but he did drop a nugget about the chances of doing The Dark Knight Returns, and it didn't end there, because the audience clearly want more from the Snyderverse. Now, it's interesting what he says in this, and yeah, we're going to take a look at it. Will this ever happen? It doesn't sound like he's flat out saying no, and of course with the Paramount merger happening, anything at this stage is bloody possible. Question is, do we really want Zack Snyder to do a Dark Knight Returns? You would have to think it would be with Ben Affleck though, so well, let's take a look at exactly what happened. So Zack Snyder said the quiet part out loud Saturday night on stage with Frank Miller at the packed Wilshire Ebel Theatre in Los Angeles. Snyder was asked when they are going to make The Dark Knight Returns. The comic is already done, Snyder noted, before delivering the line of the night, "When they let us." So you can see he's not saying, "I don't know, it's not up to me," or anything. He just flat out says, "Yeah, when they let us." So it's interesting here. So they is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Snyder didn't say if, he didn't say maybe, he said when, and he said it sitting next to the man who wrote the book, with us hanging in the air. So Snyder has spent a decade framing The Dark Knight Returns as his superhero endgame, saying back in 2023 that The Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns done, he would be pretty much finished with superheroes, and confirming on Happy Sad Confused this past February that he would still make it if the opportunity arose. And per the reporting, the day is about to change. As CBN exclusively reported, Snyder has been described as gung-ho about adapting The Dark Knight Returns and finishing his Justice League arc once the Paramount deal is done and closes, with the Snyderverse fully back in play as the DeLuca Abdi era takes shape. Saturday night, Snyder pointed at the gate himself. Now, this is the one part that they keep going on about, the full Snyderverse being brought back in. I don't think the Snyderverse is going to be coming back at all. I think it would just be too messy at this stage. To come in and try and get rid of James Gunn and then just bring back the Snyder, it would be too confusing at this stage. But that's not where it ended, because then this happened, where he responded to the chants of "We want Justice League 2." So in this one, the Snyderverse made itself heard Saturday night in Los Angeles, and Zack Snyder made sure the message went both ways. So apparently he took a jab at DC. So during the LA stop of Frank Miller's Push the Wall tour at a packed Wilshire Ebel Theatre, where Snyder spent the evening interviewing the comic book legend on stage, a fan yelled out, "We want Justice League 2. Snyder didn't let it pass. "They're all effed up, so don't forget that part. I mean, all the characters. Snyder replied. The pause and the walk back did the work. It played in the room as a jab at the studio over what's been done with these characters, and everybody caught it. So Snyder's original DC plan ran through a multi-film arc that was supposed to end with 2 more Justice League movies. Zack Snyder's Justice League instead closed an unresolved threads, with Darkseid coming to Earth and the nightmare future still hanging, and the sequels were never made after Warner Brothers pulled the plug, fueling years of Restore the Snyderverse campaigning from the fanbase that packed the Wilshire on Saturday. So he really is calling out at everything, really. Warner Brothers, DC, you name it. Seems to be, he's pretty much saying, like, yeah, Dark Knight Returns. When they let us do it, we'll be doing it. So, Justice League 2, yeah, when they let us do it and fix the problems they've created, we'll do that too. It's very interesting. You know, the fact that he's on stage and he said this stuff, the fact that, you know, he didn't even hesitate by the looks of it, he just flat out said, oh yeah, when they let us. He's been very vocal about wanting to do this, and he hasn't quieted himself down or anything. You know, he's still posting images from, you know, Justice League and Man of Steel and Wonder Woman and all this stuff, which, look, people keep thinking that's him confirming he's coming back. No, that was all to celebrate the anniversary of BVS and stuff, and nothing more. But it's the fact that every time he was putting those images out, they were getting fantastic responses. And now, while on stage with Frank Miller, and like, this is all about him interviewing him, and people start shouting up like, hey, when are we getting the Dark Knight Returns and stuff like this? And he's flat out answering the questions like, yeah, you'll get it as soon as the studio lets us. It's almost like he also sees the writing on the wall. Now the question is, would it work? Possibly. But at the same time, is Snyder the one you really want to try and do it? Tone-wise and stuff, I think he would nail that. But as long as he doesn't write it, if he doesn't write it and doesn't edit it, I think it could work really well. You know, he's definitely got the eye for the shots and stuff like that. But if he writes it, no, it's probably going to be just a total mess. Other people write it. Hell, if Frank Miller writes it, I think it could work really well. As for Justice League 2, yeah, you see, the problem you have there is you have to then try and convince everybody to come back, and like, would Henry Cavill jump at the chance to come back? Maybe, but at the end of the day, the way the studio and people treated him, would you really want to come back to that? Same with Gal Gadot and stuff, and if they all come back, then the question will be, well, when are we getting Man of Steel 2? When are we getting Wonder Woman 3? When are we getting Ben Affleck standalone Batman? Are they going to bring back Ezra Miller? You can't really bring Ezra Miller back. What's his name? The dude who plays Cyborg. Fisher, isn't it? Ray Fisher, is that his name? Like, would you really want the headache of bringing him back? Because he turned into such a whiny little bitch after, no, they're so racist. They made me say, booyah, the character's catchphrase. Yeah, so racist. You weirdo. And Jason Momoa. How the hell do you go from making him Aquaman to him finally getting to be Lobo, where he's even like, finally, to then ask him to go back and be Aquaman? Yeah, it's just, that part of it probably will never happen, but could the Dark Knight Returns happen? It's possible. It's actually possible. We'll have to wait and see. But what do you guys think? Would you want to see a Zack Snyder Dark Knight Returns? Would you like to see a Justice League 2 from him? Do you think any of this will ever happen? Do let me know what you think about it all in the comments. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Cheers. I'll catch you in the next one.